love. It really is. It's just a wonderful place we
Magandang
landed.
morning mga planet.
Well, thank you both for taking the time to warm our
Madulas ang
hearts
daan
up
dahil
here in
nag-snow.
Canada. We
Mukhang may
appreciate
nadulas na doon sa
your
baba.
sharing your
Sa
story
baba.
with us. Have a happy holiday.
Thank you.
Kaya
You too.
ingat-ingat sa
Thank you
pagdadrive
very
mga
much.
planet.
So glad to share.
Matt Riggs and
Madulas
Kim
na yung
Morton are
kalsada dahil
neighbors in
nag-snow nga.
Baltimore, in a neighborhood lit up with a whole lot of Christmas spirit.
Mukhang
From
may nadulas
Baltimore,
na
we go to Port de
doon.
Grave, Newfoundland, where for more than 2 decades the harbor has been filled with boats
Anong
decked
nangyari
out
dyan?
in their Christmas light finest. Joyce Morgan is co-chair of the Port de Grave annual boat lighting. Joyce, hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. Tell me about your light displays in Port de Grave. This is a long-held tradition. Talk about a
Delikado
port in
kasi
the
ngayon mga
storm.
planet dahil
Yes,
dito pababa.
it's been going on since 1999, and
Kapal yung snow, kasi
officially since
ano,
1999, and before that, there
madulas
was a
yung
lone
kalsada.
fisherman who lit up his boat. So anyway, we decided that we would approach the fishermen and the boat owners and see if they would light up the
Ayun,
harbor,
may
and
nadulas
that's what
doon
we
na
did.
sasakyan.
And it's been a major success and known all around the world, actually.
So you've gone from one boat in 1999 to how many participating today?
This year we have 58, and that's because we have a number of boats on dry dock and a number of boats have been sold. Last year we had 71.
Right. And do you have a boat in the display?
Yes, we do. We have a 45-foot pleasure boat.
Okay. And what does it look like? Describe it to us. What have you got up there? Just a single strand of lights, or is it something more ornate?
Delikado. Ayun
It's
na,
more
may
like Griswold's
nag-ano.
Christmas boat. We got a lot of lights on. We got candy canes on. We got a Christmas tree on top, and strung right around the boat there's all kinds of lights.
Wow. I mean, listening to
Madulas kasi.
the neighbors
Ibababa
in
pa ito.
Baltimore tell their stories about reaching out to each other and this celebration of lights, and we all take part in that, many of us, during this time of year.
Delikado kasi dito mga
What do you
planet
think
talaga
that
pag
it means
nag-isto na.
during these dark times of COVID, your celebration?
Madulas ang
It's
kalsada,
amazing,
pababa.
actually.
Ahon.
Last year, where everything was shut down completely, like we had thousands and thousands of people coming to Port de Grave from all over the province, actually, and made long distance drives and just to see the lights because they were able to come and get out with their families, stay in their own bubbles, or if they didn't feel comfortable getting out, they could just drive around the harbour.
Right. And this year, what are you expecting?
Well, we just went back to level 3 last night, so we're expecting now a lot more traffic than what we've been seeing in the past.
Delikado kasi pagka hindi ka naka-snow
Because, I
tire.
mean, people were able to go to parties and all that stuff, but now everything now is shut down again, and we're expecting a lot of traffic in the next up to January 6th.
Is there anything else that takes place? I mean, is there sort of freelancing that comes along with it? Do you have musicians? You talked about the candy cane lights on your boat. Is anybody handing out real candy canes?
What we do is on the night opening
Delikado to dahil
ceremony,
pababa.
we'll
Makapal
have
yung
a
snow
opening
sa
ceremony with
kalsada,
music,
madulas.
candy canes, hot
Bigas na.
chocolate, Santa Claus, a lot of singing and that stuff,
Dahan.
right? But there is, like, on the peninsula area, like, we're about 1,000 people here living on the Port de Grave Peninsula, and we got, last year we had the Port de Grave Peninsula Heritage Society constructed a crab pot Christmas tree at 475 crab pots, and it was huge, the largest in Atlantic Canada. And this year it's made up of 492, so that's a big draw. Then we have out that's got hundreds and hundreds of candy canes, and we call them the candy cane man. And just as you're entering Port de Grave, you will come up on this site. It's amazing. Plus this, we got other people, got a lobster pot Christmas tree and a lobster pot boat and another crab pot Christmas tree. And all the residents, I mean, they go above and beyond to decorate their homes to make it bright. So you're not just coming to the harbour in Port de Grave to see the lights. You're witnessing Christmas lights from the time you enter the peninsula.
It sounds pretty spectacular. I wonder if you were worried at all. It's been such a difficult year, and coming up to this time, of
Ganito
course,
yung
we've
tsura
had seen
dito
an
pag
increase
nag-isto,
in
mga kalit.
COVID cases. Were you worried that at any point that this
Ganda lang tignan
would
pag
be shut down
napapatak
because it
first,
would
no?
be seen as something that's drawing people
Pagka
to each
tumigas
other in
na.
crowds? We're really trying to stay away from that.
Dami ng may slide.
No, we weren't worried because, like what we witnessed last year, like normally it's a 10-minute drive from us to go to Bay Roberts, that's the next town, and like when you're entering the peninsula. But last year, through the light, it took me 2 hours before you got to 40 grades, which was bumper to bumper traffic. But people just, like, we spent a lot of time in the nighttime in the harbour, talking to people and that, and doing social distancing, of course. And people just, they kept in their own bubble, and it's a really big area, so they got lots of room to stay. There's no crowds gathered together.
Is there something that we can connect to the maritime history, to that notion of the lighthouse, people living on the coast, that somehow makes this, just a little bit more special? Is it that ancient tradition?
I'm really not sure what about that.
We'd be able to find you, I think, in a storm, is what I'm understanding
yeah.
from the spectacular nature of the lights.
Yes, I misunderstood. Like, there's no trouble finding us, and at our end of our peninsula, like, we have a beautiful lighthouse. It's the Green Point Lighthouse. The mariners see that when they're coming in this area, into this bay.
Well, it sounds fantastic. I wish you all the success, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me, and I want to wish you and yours a very Merry Christmas.
Thanks so much. Joyce Morgan, co-chair of the Port de Grave annual boat lighting. She's in Port de Grave, Newfoundland. We know of many communities with similar traditions, and we would love to hear about them. We are at thecurrent@cbc.ca if you'd like to send an email, or you can tweet us at thecurrentcbc. The CBC News is next. Then, still to come, it's Christmas Eve. Morley has gone out with the kids. The oven is a foreign and complicated piece of machinery to operate, and Dave urgently has a turkey to cook. A Vinyl Cafe Classic is up next. I'm Margaret Evans, and you're listening to The Current.
Madumi ang kalsada.
This is CBC
Ayun,
Radio 1, 88.1 FM and 690 AM in Vancouver. Spoiler alert. As soon as you think you got everything all figured out, that's what happens. Snap Judgment, the Don't Look Back special, amazing stories, the land of the unexplained. Snap Judgment. Snap Judgment with Glenn Washington, Sunday night at 10, 11 Atlantic, 11:30 in Newfoundland, and on the CBC Listen app. The CBC News is next. Coming up in an hour, it's Q.
Ted Lasso is a show you've been hearing a lot about. One of the show's stars, Heather Waddingham, picked up her first Emmy for her performance on the series. She'll tell you why, at a time when dark shows like Squid Game and American Horror Story reign supreme, a show about kindness is made.
This is the CBC News. Good morning, I'm David French. Drivers in the lower mainland are being advised the Alex Fraser Bridge is closed to traffic due to public safety reasons. The Ministry of Transportation says a closure of the bridge is needed to protect travelers due to snow and ice buildup on cables. The ministry says in a statement that with the high winds, road technicians are not able to deploy and remove the snow and ice. It's not known how long the Alex Fraser Bridge will be closed. As the number of COVID-19 cases hit another record high in BC, the demand for testing is also increasing. Vancouver Coastal is giving out rapid tests to some people to take home, and other health authorities looking at making the switch as the demand jumps. Mayor Baines reports.
Already there are long lineups at testing sites in Metro Vancouver. It's led to a shift in how people are being tested. Vancouver Coastal Health says some people are being given take-home rapid antigen tests, but it says PCR testing will continue for some, prioritizing people at greater risk of severe disease from COVID-19. Fraser Health says it's working on having rapid tests available soon as one option to use at its sites. The health authority says staff are currently only accepting booked appointments for COVID tests.
Yan naman,
Fraser Health
nalusaw
says
agad yung
those who
snow.
need a COVID-19 test but don't want to wait have the option of taking a saline gargle test home with them and then dropping it off later at the site. A report from an independent COVID-19 modeling group said hospitalizations due to the variant will reach unprecedented heights by around mid-January. Mira Baines, CBC News, Vancouver.
As COVID case numbers across the country soar, frontline workers are struggling to keep up with testing. Philip Shannon reports.
Well, I know it's very difficult to get tested right now, so that factors into a lot of our decisions. Matthew Capet is on the hunt for rapid tests in downtown Toronto. Without them, he'll be playing it safe. Christmas is a bit of a question mark right now because we do have a vulnerable person in our family. It's a baby under 1. The rush of people trying to get tested before the holidays is putting a strain on Ontario's labs. Michelle Hode is with the Medical Laboratory Professionals Association of Ontario.
It is just a lot of tests that are sitting there waiting to be processed. That process takes a long time.
She says in Ontario, processing time has doubled in most cases. Instead of hours, it takes a day. Instead of 1 day, it now takes days. Philip Shannon, CBC News, Toronto.
In Saskatchewan, Premier Scott Moe suggests tougher COVID rules might be ahead for his province.
Well, I can say that we are tracking this situation very closely, and we have not ruled out some additional measures around large gathering sizes potentially being introduced in the next week.
Saskatchewan's case numbers started to rise late this week. Moe says people there should be concerned about Omicron, but not panicked. There are weather warnings up across for much of BC today. On the south coast, there's a snowfall warning and Arctic outflow warnings. Those outflow warnings are also standing up for the central and north coast as well. Further inland, there are extreme cold warnings. A very cold Arctic ridge of high pressure will settle over northern and central BC. Home prices in Canada are continuing their relentless climb, and Ottawa is pledging to jumpstart new construction. Nick Boisler has more.
You can see our fingerprints, you can see our investment.
Housing Minister Ahmed Hussein, his government has already made rapid progress on the housing file.
Taken all together, we're talking about hundreds of thousands of new affordable homes for people.
A pillar of the Liberal government's strategy is the new Housing Accelerator Fund, which will dish out $4 billion to help municipalities quickly build new housing. The target is 100,000 new middle-class homes by 2025. Others say the government should focus on rental housing if it wants to make the greatest impact. Jill Atke is the CEO of the BC Nonprofit Housing Association.
It's actually the rental supply where we need to keep a really laser-like focus.
But critics like the opposition Conservatives say the Liberal plan isn't nearly ambitious enough. Nick Boisler, CBC News, Chelsea, Quebec.
And that is the CBC News for British Columbia. Your weather forecast now for Metro Vancouver and the South Coast. Snow ending later this morning, then showers, windy at times. Temperatures up to about 3 today. There is a chance of showers or flurries overnight, lows of 0, periods of snow before morning. For Christmas Day, Environment Canada says expect periods of snow about 2 to 4 centimeters. Temperatures getting up to about 2 degrees for the day. The extended forecast, snow expected through Sunday with a high of -4 and lows down to about -12. This is CBC Radio 1.
Hello, I'm Margaret Evans, and you're listening to The Current.
Ayan mga planet. Buti naman at nalusaw agad yung snow.
you know everything there is to know about
Guys,
Christmas
salamat sa inyong
carols,
panonood.
but you're probably wrong.
Kalimutan
In 30
subscribe ang ating
minutes,
channel,
you'll
mga
have some
planet.
Christmas music trivia with a classical conductor
Pindutin nyo
and
na rin
music
yung maliit na
historian.
doorbell sa gilid
But
para
first,
updated lagi sa
Dave
sunod natin mga
has a
video.
turkey to cook.
Okay, bye for now mga planet. Merry Christmas!